I'm Coach Elston. I'm the defensive line coach. This is beginning my 10th season here. And it's been, the last couple of years, been really good to get back to the defensive line. I took a stint away from the D-line and went with the linebackers. And got a really good group of guys right now that are developing, that are very talented. And adding some good young guys to it this spring. So the spring's been going really well. You'll see tomorrow at practice. Got some pretty good depth, especially on the edges of our defense. And the guys are really working their tails off. What I thought we could do today, I'm just going to get right into, dive right into technique, dive right into drill work that we've been doing this spring. And things, it's basically, this is more run emphasis on this drill tape. When we get upstairs for the chalk talk, if there's any pass emphasis, we can talk about that. I think a year ago I emphasized pass, so I switched it up this year to spend more time on run. And so we'll just dive right in, and if you have a question, just get my attention, fire it out. So run drill fundamentals. The first thing that we do at the beginning of every practice is some form of get-off drill. You know, having the guys work get-offs, and we do everything underneath chutes. And every time we come out from underneath the chutes, I want the guys to be throwing their hands and hitting something. So right here you can see we're under the chutes. I have, does the laser work up here, or is this a plasma screen? So you can see a young man with the ball on a stick, giving him a hard count. That's my graduate assistant, defensive line assistant. And he's hard counting them. So the guys are peeking into the ball, having their vision on the ball, peripheral vision to the ball. But you can see great stances. And I have in front of them a pop-up. So what that is to represent, obviously the chute is to force them to stay low, keep their eyes up. And we'll go through some of the coaching points. But I want them to always, from where their hands are on the ground, how quickly can I go from here to there? I don't want any wind up. I don't want any drawback. I want my guys throwing their hands at the offensive lineman. That protects against the hard cutoff blocks for a 2-eye. That protects against the reach blocks for the 3 techniques and the 5 techniques. So you want to be throwing your hands up. So you can see Khalid right here. He's a D-end, the guy on the edge. And so the numbers, the best thing is that there's numbers on these bags. So that's an aiming point for them. I want really their hands to be up near the numbers. That shows me that they're hitting a rising blow. They got their thumbs up. I want their thumbs up. I want their elbows in. I want them nice and tight so they can control the blocker with inside hands. All right, and so I'm throwing my arms. And so bringing my feet on contact is critical. So you'll see them keep driving their feet. One thing to keep an eye on when you're doing this drill is guys will have a tendency to duck their head, all right, to not hit the pop, not hit the chute. Obviously, what you're trying to habitize with muscle memory is staying low, coming out of the stance every single time. And so if you do it enough times, you'll see my guys, they're not ducking their head under the chute to try to miss that bar. All right, so your guys will be able to play with better pad level. So this is stressing a good power step. This is stressing throwing the hands out of your stance. This is stressing keeping your eyes up and your pad level down and playing with good pad level for run defense. So the other thing that they finish with, you can see Khalid here on the right, they're all going over top of the bag, straddling the bag. What that does is it forces, when you're taking on a run block, you want to keep a power base. So if a blocker was coming out at me, my base is power. I'm here. If it was pass and I want speed, obviously I'd have a narrow base and I'm running off the ball and I'm hitting some level of a breakdown on the man. Here I want power. Defending the run, I want power. So and then I want them to run up the field for a finish. Here we are doing it again, another drill, another group of guys. Very efficient movement by the right end here. All right, you can see the hands, you can see the eyes. We're not ducking the head. Let me try to find someone that was ducking a little bit. I know I had a freshman here. Let me see if I can find it so I can show you. All of these are pretty good reps. This was down at the Cotton Bowl. I love filming at that angle because I didn't used to watch as much individual with the guys from, all the way up on the lift where the video typically comes from. So now we brought the camera down on the field, and it's really good coaching from being able to coach the stance, being able to coach the step, the hand placement, because everything that we do is so fine, detailed that it needs to be for defending the run. You want to be coaching all of that stuff. All right, so any questions on that drill? Pretty self-explanatory. You're working a lot of things there, all right? The left sled. So what I love about the left sled is very heavy, okay? And everything that we're doing is still stressing Great stance, get off, pad level, all that stuff. We're not doing this under the chute because the lead sled moves, and then you'd have to move the chute, all right? So with the lead sled moving, you can't keep moving the chute, but what we're stressing here, you can see we're keying the football. We're trying to incorporate a football in as many drills as we can. Some of them you can't, all right, because you got 4 guys, all looking down the same way, and then the defensive end that's the furthest away is looking like 15 yards down the field for the ball. So as many times as you can, you're working hard counts, you're working the ball movement. And then you can see a great stance here by Julian Acora. You can see his hands ready to fire. He shoots his hand, no wasted movement. He's not backing up. How fast can I get my hands into the chest plate with the thumbs up, elbows in, locking the guy out and driving my feet on contact. And so what the lev sled does is, this is a heavy sled. How many of you guys have a lev sled? All right, they're heavy. To push them, you have to actually drive your feet. And that's what you have to habitize at defensive line. You're trying to run your feet. So Julian drives this thing back. The sled has to dent back before it can lift. If you don't dent it back with good force and drive, it won't lift up, okay? It just stays on the ground. So that's what I like about this sled. You can also lock them if you want to just drive them, all right? But I like to see my guys hit and lift this, all right, and get in a position to throw off. So here on the finish, so we're working the start, we're working the stance, we're working all that stuff, the key in the ball. And then here on the finish, we have 2 ways that we finish on the blockers to tear off the block. So if I could just get someone to pop up. Would you mind popping up? I know you're taking a note. Actually, I'm sorry. Go sit down. Keep taking notes. Come on up here, Chief. Chief's an ex-O lineman anyway, so this is perfect. So if this is the offensive lineman and I'm throwing off on him, let's say I'm in a gap. Let's say I'm in this gap over here, and as I strike him, I'm driving him back and I'm winning, all right? And I have him locked out. If I am playing my gap, which we play a single gap defense, this is my gap. If I'm going to tear off, I already have the leverage. So I shock him and I shrug him off with a 2-handed shrug down and a rip off. And I'm in my fit, all right? If and when I kick the crap out of this guy and knock him back, I'm in my fit. I force the ball to go inside of me. Now I shock him, 2-hand shed, and he's going to hold me like all linemen do, and I'm going to take this arm and I'm going to punch it off, and I'm going to come here because I have to cross his body. All right, that's a very challenging thing to teach a defensive lineman. And so here you can see our guys working the punch off to knock the offensive lineman's arm off that's going to be holding him. All right, so we do that. So we're working the stance, the start. This is a really good rep. Another thing that we're trying to emphasize here is for a young kid to start to use his hands is very challenging, right? We do so many hand blow delivery drills that when you finally get them to fire their hands, now they're activating their face and their head involved in the block. And so what you're trying to do, you can see some really good reps of, as I come off the ball, I'm firing my hands, but I'm not making contact with my head. A lot of my young guys want to hit head first, all right, and then lock them out. Well, what ends up happening there is, guess what? The O-lineman's moving. He's not just firing off at you. So if you're late with your hands and leading with your head, you're reached, you're cut out, and all that bad stuff that happens for a defensive lineman. That's why when we're under the chutes, we're emphasizing throwing the hands, and my head is behind on the contact. So it's easier to hit this lev sled by putting your face on it, all right? And I'm telling these guys to keep their face out of the contact. So this is a really good rep, good power base as he drives it, and then a nice finish on the punch off. All right, here's a D tackle doing it, does a nice job. He has a tendency to drop his eyes. You can see his eyes go down on contact. That's something that we're always working on, making sure we're able to see everything, see our key move right, left, see our key back up for pass. But another good, kind of a lazy punch off there. Here's a rip off. So now we're in the same fit, same gap, rip off. Pretty good rep. All right, here's a young guy doing it. Really good punch and delivery. And this allows us, I mean, these guys, these drops, these 2-point stance guys, they're 235 pounds. They're not the biggest guys on campus. And they're going against offensive tackles. They're 300-something pounds. And because they're playing with great hands and great leverage and great foot drive, they're able to hold up. You'll see them dent the shoulder, knock them back, win almost every single time. We're not getting knocked off the ball at these positions where we have a 235-pound defensive end or drop, which we call the stand-up guys as our drop, because they're able to play with good pad level, good leverage, and good blow delivery. All right, so we've seen enough of that. Let's go to the next drill. Any questions on the left sled? I live by this drill. I think it's great. I think it's because one thing you have to habitize is on contact to keep running your feet. You just got to keep running your feet so you can drive the guy back. You want to dent that offensive lineman. Yes, sir. I always do it head up because what I don't want to have happen is when I step to it, first of all, if you do it from a shade, you got to step. We always step straight. Every one of my steps are straight. If I step flat, maybe like I'm doing an in movement, but if I step flat, then you're habitizing stepping flat. Okay? And everything for a defensive lineman is having your power going to the man you're lined up on. Okay? So if I'm shaded on coach right here on his side, my first step is there. Okay? I don't want to habitize stepping there because where's my power going? There. And his is coming here. And I'm going to get my ass knocked off. So I want to step my power to him. So then if I do the sled from this side, when I strike it, it's going to turn on me like this. And I want him to stay powerful and big and square, so I just put him head up. But I tell them, you can tell by where they're at based on the hand that's down. So the ball hand is always down. So this would be like a shade or a 3 technique on the right side of the bag here. All right, but it's a real thick alignment. All right, any other questions about this drill? Okay, great. We'll move on to the next drill. The 5-man sled. Now this is another one. So this is an outdoor sled for us, and we haven't had a chance to use it this spring much. This was the first day that we got outside, so the drill doesn't look exactly how I want it to look. I'll show it to you and I'll explain it to you how I want it to really look. The best thing about this sled is that the bags are in the ground. All right, so they're not going to move. They're going to go back. They're not going to lift. And they're called low boys. They force the D lineman to stay low. All right, which is what I love about them. So you can see we're in a good power stance. Now because the sled won't move, now we're shaded on the side. So now I can take that good power step so I can coach the first step. So right here, like the first day of doing it, let's look at the guys that are taking the good steps. So again, I don't have the ability, but the guy right down the middle, that's a true freshman. Going to be one of the better D tackles that we've had here in a very long time. His name is Jacob Lacey. He is really, really good. First step is a little flat inside. All right, odd day on the right side, a pretty good step. Kurt's kind of hopping into the drill, not what I want. All right, so Jameer is a little bit high on the left 44. All right, but you're working footwork, you're working stance, footwork, pad level, hand placement, and then you're also working that disengage. So you can see them, they're in their gap, ripping off in their fit. Now when they go inside, so they each take 2 reps. So now they're going to punch across the offensive lineman here, and they should be punching. So again, 41's kind of doing the punch. The other guys really aren't doing it. They're not executing it. Again, it all becomes how many times you do the drill, what you're trying to get out of it. This was the first day and the only day that we've been outside. I have a 5-man sled indoors, which is on the track, which we don't use that often, and we don't do this same drill. But you're trying to just keep emphasizing the pad level, the blow delivery, and the running of the feet, and then obviously the disengage. All right? That's why we always incorporate the ball, because you're going to have guys being lazy in the drill, guys that are just going to be listening to the cadence. This is the upperclassmen doing it now. Watch Khalid right down the middle. Khalid is a really, really talented defensive end. Good first step, good punch, and then a little bit of a lazy rip-off. I want to keep his pad level down when he tears off. I'd like to see him in a good football position. All right, but after this drill, we watch this film together and we coach off of it, which is great. All right, and then you should see some punch-offs with these guys. Not a great drill on the right. Like he's head up, he's not really coming off, his eyes stay outside. Anyway, 5-man sled. Okay, so now we're going to get into some drills that we do for defending different types of blocks. And they're simple, they're fundamental block, base block, reach block, all that stuff, double teams. We'll spend the next 30 minutes talking about that. And if you have any questions, just fire them out. So one-on-one blocks that we get, everything that we talk about, Chief, if you can come up here. So all of the offensive lineman's power generates from the inside out. So as he steps to me, so I'm the shade, I'm a 1 technique, a 3 technique, a 5 technique. I'm outside shade of this offensive player. So as he takes his footwork, say you're taking a base block. So right there, he steps with his outside foot, and look what he's doing with this arm. He's naturally bringing this inside arm to strike me. So if you go back, Coach, if I take my footwork at him and I step and I'm here and we go to a base block and he's going inside out, look at his power. He's trying to push me here. So I have to push power, my power against power. I call this his power shoulder or his hard shoulder. So I take this shoulder and I dent it back. Look what I've done to his power. Where's his power pointed? Right that way. Okay, it's not on me anymore. So I'm trying to transfer the power off of me here, and I'm still in my fit. I'm not saying work the head up, lose my leverage. All I'm saying is below the liver, inside arm, lock it out, and win right here. I can tear off in my gap, or I can hold me like most O-linemen do. I can tear off and punch his arm off and fit inside, okay, when the ball commits inside. Good, thanks. So that's basically what this is saying, all right? So now as you watch us work the drill, and we do this every day, we'll be doing this tomorrow. Most of these drills we're doing tomorrow. So here's an offensive lineman. These are D linemen playing offensive line. But you can see the base block. So watch 53 on the left. See how he takes his inside arm and he works that power shoulder or hard shoulder and dents it back. Stays leveraged in the gap that he was aligned in, and he's able to work that fit and win. Okay, now I'm blowing a whistle to stop it. You could obviously work a disengage here on this, but what I want to see in this drill is where they're finishing on the block. Okay, we've already done enough disengage drills that I just want to see how they finish on this. And like everything that you do, it's all about the look that you're giving them. I spend more time coaching the offensive line in a meeting room, or the defensive line to play offensive line, to give us the accurate look. So when we're watching this video together, I'm mostly correcting the offensive line to try to get them to give us the look that we want. There is no step and then stop. It's to drive them, all right? But you can see us trying to torque and lock out that power shoulder. I always want to try to take the power away from the offensive man. So here's a couple looks at it. So watch 91. This was the other day. All right. So now he works a base block. You see where his hand placement is. You see the lockout. You see the long arm. All right. He's stabbing that out. He's taking the power away. The moment he went like that, the O-lineman stopped. Okay. This guy is 240 pounds, 245 pounds, maybe 250 at the most. And the offensive lineman is over 300. He comes off with good pad level. His pads are below his pads. And when you finish on your punch and you finish on your lockout, you want your hands to be above your eyes. Okay? If your hands are below your eyes, that means you're playing too high and you have no power, or you've rolled your hips. So as I lock this guy out, I step, power, punch, strike, and take the hard shoulder away, and now my hands are above my eyes because my pad level is low. So you can always tell whether your guys are playing low enough based on where they finish with their hands in comparison to their eyes. So this is a nice job on the hard shoulder. That's a really good look at also. These are things we're going to get to also, but like this is a 2-eye playing what we call a power scoop. So the power scoop is the guard trying to get vertical through the outside shoulder of the 2-eye, and the center trying to cover him up and climb up to the backer. So you can see we're working 2-eye in this drill. This is against the offense now. But now this is Khalid. Again, another, I would say, undersized defensive end. And you can see him lock out that hard shoulder and just dent that thing back. Same day, same drill. Here's a young kid, a true freshman. All right, 47, actually a sophomore, excuse me. Doing a nice job. Completely overmatched in terms of size. Probably 235, 242 pounds. And being able to hold up right there and do a great job on the hard shoulder. Another nice job by 41 on the power scoop. Here's a nose guard doing a great job on a base block and working the hard shoulder, and I'll just tear off and make that play. 97. So all your edge players are going to get this base block, right? Watch 95 come off the ball. He shocks him with takeoff, dents him back, hits the hard shoulder, then tears off, punch across, make the play. 19. Power step, hard shoulder work. You can see him work the tackle back. 19 probably weighs 235 pounds. Okay, any questions on how to defeat the base block, or at least how I'm saying to defeat the base block? Now, the reach block. This is a unique thing, all right? I think that, again, I coached on the offense when we were at Cincinnati for a couple years, so knowing where the offensive lineman, the tight end's power comes from and all that stuff helped me to then move back on the defensive side of the ball. So one of the worst things that I can hear, or that when I'm out and I go to practices and I'm watching a coach a guy, So I'm on the edge, and I come off the football, and I'm attacking. My aiming point is always to attack the V of the neck of this guy. Okay, that's where I'm attacking. Now, if I'm looking at that and I see it move, obviously I'm going to redirect. All right, but my first initial step is through the V of the neck. So if you got a guy that's stepping inside, he's losing his power. You got a guy that's stepping outside, he's losing his power. But if my power is going right through the V of the neck of this guy, I got a great chance to win. So now as he works a reach block on me, and I come off the football and I strike him with my hands, now he's trying to get to my outside shoulder. I stepped with my power foot, I can redirect off of that, and I transition to this. He's trying to keep me, all right, and have his power here and have me jump outside to play the reach block, and now I'm out in front of his power and he runs me to the sideline. I can't do anything about it. But what I want to do is transfer his power away from me, so as I come off, I'm turning him, and he's got a slippery shirt on, but I turn him sideways like that and press his tip. And I drive him back at a 45-degree angle. Where's his power going? It's going out there. Where's mine? Going right through him at a 45. All right, so we play the reach block a little bit different. And you'll see that's basically what that says. So what I just demonstrated. So here's us working on it. Here's Tillery. Guy reaching him. He's kind of cheating the drill by stepping out. But we're not trying to run out to his power. You see him take that long arm and stab him back. Is there a reason why this thing keeps cutting in and out, Tim? Am I cutting in and out? Or can you guys hear me okay? I feel like when I turn towards this microphone, it's shutting off. All right. So anyway, you can see him driving back at a 45. Here's another D tackle doing it. Every position's going to have this work. Khalid is a master at it. All right. He comes off the football because he wants to go to the quarterback. He wants to play great on the edge, and you're not slowing the guys down. Once you come off the ball to attack the V of the neck, you get any type of outside block, reach block, you're blowing through it and driving the guy back. Don't stop, transition your weight, and then run outside into his power. All right, so when I go to practice and I hear D-line coaches say, hey, don't get reached, don't get reached. Hey, dude, just come off the football and knock the son of a gun back, okay? Take his power away from him, drive him back, and you're going to keep the ball. You're going to not get reached by knocking the son of a gun back and turning the ball back inside. All right, so anyway, this is us doing the drill. And then here's 53. So there it is, all right? Don't run out to the guy's power, and even 55. So 55 kind of hops off the ball instead of taking a power step, but then he gets to watch him get to the tip right there and drive the guy back. 55 completely takes the tip of the left tackle back and drives him back at a 45, and right there makes the play. Now we're not thudding up in this drill, all right, so he form fits on air, but he would have thudded this guy up. And I love this drill. We call this drill half line. So a lot of my reps that I'm showing you, all right, of us getting our technique correct is in this drill because it cuts it down, it condenses it. You don't have a lot of guys on the ground where you're going to get a knee or an ankle rolled up on, but it allows you to really hone in on technique. And the other thing that I think is sadly miscoached or not coached enough is the backfield set and being able to sight things. All right, so like right now, my guys know the back offset weak away from them. That shade and that 5 technique has taken the playbook of the offense and they've shrunk it down. Because they know what plays they're going to get with the back offset away from them. All right, if they're going to run the football, the center and guard are going to work to the left and the tackle is going to work to the left, typically. Like 7 out of 10 times, all right? 8 out of 10 times. Anything over 70% in football is a pretty good nugget. So we're going to play the percentages. So my shade, you can see where he's aligned. Normally his alignment is through the crotch of the center. But when he knows the back is offset away, he's going to loosen out a little bit. Same thing with the defensive end. His normal alignment is a 1.5, right on that guy's foot. But they sight the back because every play begins with sight, and they widen out a little bit because they're expecting that type of play. All right, so it's more than just, hey, line up, don't be off sides, and come off the football and smack somebody in the face. So here's a good job of tip drills, both of them. So watch 91. He runs that guy's tip back, and you'd like to see him come off right there inside and make that play. All right, that's why we're trying to do it. We're trying to knock the tip back so we can be an effective player in both gaps, the outside and inside. 97 does a pretty good job. He's running the tip back. If he stopped what he was doing and ran outside, what would that center do to him? Just run him right to the sideline. All right? So we're not trying to run outside on a reach block into the guy's power. Okay, let's see if we got, here's some good examples here in the game. Typically, you get better examples in the game. So watch the guy up top. Again, my pointer doesn't work. but up top on the far side. See him knock that tip back? That's pretty good play. Wow. 53 here, I'll go to the tight copy. Watch 53 on the left. Beautiful. Did the ball get outside of him? Would you say, did he get reached? Would you say if you were coaching your guy, that's getting reached? Because the tackle is basically head up on him. Okay, I'm not saying that's get reached. I'm saying that's knocking the tip back. Even 41, watch the shade. Is that center initially outside of him? Yes. But watch what he does on the finish. He takes the tip, drives it back. He doesn't run out to the guy's power, all right, and get washed to the sideline. And then there are situations where you are going to set the edge. So 53, he knew in this game when the back was offset weak, we're going to get a lot of stretch. And in this defense, they ran power read. So we're going to smoke the defensive end up the field. So we should set a good firm edge. So we do that as well. All right, so watch 53 here. Back offset away, hard reach, set the edge, turn it back. All right, pin and pull. So not sure how many of you guys get pin and pull. This explains what pin and pull is. I guess it's probably better just to show you off the video than read through all of this stuff. But for our 3 techniques, like this is a 3 and a 6 technique. So I try to play as much 6 technique head up on the tight end as we can. The reason being is I want to have the advantage. If I'm going to line up and say my D end is going to whip your tight end's butt, then I have to give him I have to allow him the ability to do that by alignment. If I line him up inside eye of the tight end and that tight end always has the angle on me, then there's a better chance of him winning than me. But if I line head up and say mano-y-mano, now I'm going to kick your butt, you have to block me head up, then I got a better chance of whipping him. But what you have to be able to do is give the guy a tool to not get cut out of the C gap. So what we do is we line head up, but we key the offensive tackle. All right? The offensive tackle gives us our read. The other thing that we're tied into is the backfield set. So pistol tells us a lot of stretch and pin and pull. So we'll start with the 3 technique. The 3 technique is running through the V of the neck of the guard, okay? So as he runs through the V of the neck of the guard, he's reading the guard. If the guard pulls, then what I want to do is I want to see him dip his outside shoulder and run what I call the front door. If it's a front side pull, we're going to run through and run the front side, okay? If I got a guard pulling that's pulling away from me, so if the guard up there pulled to the right, we call that running the back door, all right? And that's what we do. We're coming off the football to penetrate. So we're either going to run the front door with a pin and pull or with the power scheme, counter scheme, guard pull, we're going to run the back door. There's a great look at it from practice yesterday where the center, the gap back on 95, he came flying through the B gap, through the V of the neck, the guard pulled, ran the back door, got a TFL. That's what you're trying to accomplish. You're putting stress on the offense on the center. But here you got a front side pull, typically given away by a light guard, a heavy tackle, tackle in front of the guard, all those things that you're telling your guys when you play a team that plays this or runs this play, sighting everything. Every play begins with sight, pistol, guard off the ball, light, tackle on the ball, heavy. Get ready for the pin and pull, Myron. So here you go. Okay, there he goes. He runs through the front door, dips his shoulder, tackle has a poor first step, steps under himself, and there he is making a play. Okay, 42 is wrong in his footwork. But we're talking here more about, and we'll get into a good snap of what I'm talking about with 42. But it's a nice job of running the front door. Watch a couple more of these with the D tackle. The 3 technique. So what we want the drop to do, 19, the 2-point, which 42 didn't do. All right, and we're really good at this right now because we've been working it for so long. But the 3 technique, you can see him run the front door, another TFL. Tackle does a poor job with the first step. All right, not flattening out, stopping his charge. If the tackle did a great job of stopping the 3 techniques charge, then he's going to work the same technique that the 6 techniques work, and we call it a throat technique. So come on over here, Chief. Anytime I get any type of down block on me, I want to throat this guy. I want to just take and just throw his ass back, all right, with my inside leverage. So if the guard, or the tackle's blocking down on the 3 technique and I don't win on the penetration, I feel this, I know I was laid off the ball, he does a great job of taking a flat step. As I throw my hands, it's here, I'm here. Now, hard shoulder, outside shoulder, power coming from outside in, dent it, throwed him back. I took his power away, and I throwed him back. Same thing that the 6 technique should be doing. So here, tackle block down. I'm keying him, I'm on him. If he comes out, I'm through the face of the tight end, kicking his butt. If the tackle blocked down, did I say down? If the tackle blocked out, through the face of the tight end. If the tackle blocked down, I'm here through the tight end, winning the C gap, not getting cut out. Because as a defensive end, your world is the C gap. You got to win the C gap for your team. All right, so when the tackle just blocked down on 19, he steps, saw the guard pull outside, back to a throat on the tight end. All right, is how we should play this. All right. Anyway, that's what we're coaching on the pin and pull. Pretty simple, right? Pretty easy to see. And now here is a 3 technique that's laid off the ball. Here is an offensive tackle that takes a nice first step. So now look what he's doing. All right? He's throating the guy back. That's what he should do. All right? If you don't beat the guy and run the front door, then you throat the guy back and finish it. And then here you can punch across to tear off the block. Because what's the O-lineman going to do? He's going to hold you. Right? That's what all the O-lineman coaches have talked about so far. That's what I've heard. So here's a good look at the throat by the drop. Okay? Number 9 here. 57 running the front door. And then so the drop wins the C gap, and there he is tearing off the tight end and thud up the ball carrier, make the play. All right, here's Tillery coming off the ball, late, poor first step, went outside instead of through the V of the neck. Tackle does a nice job of stepping, so what should he do? Throat the guy back, just like 42 does, so I should have 2 throat techniques here, which we do, and watch 42 whip the tight end. Okay, now, this was back when we were playing a little bit more of a 6-eye than a 6 technique. All right, and so what we'll do is imagine, there's no mouse up here, but I would like to draw this if I could. No. So imagine the back offset to the 6 technique. So where do you think the play is going to go then? Away from him. So what can he do with his alignment? Go inside further so he doesn't get cut out. Okay? So we try to do as much as we can with sight in the backfield and shrinking down. And our offense does a nice job of running a ton of pistol. So you can see a lot of this stuff is pistol, which is really good stuff. It's very challenging for a D lineman to sight things. And here's another good throat by 9. 57 sees that he's not going to get it, so he works back into the throat. Poor hands. You'd like to see him shoot the guy with his hands inside. All right, and obviously there's more of the defense coming this way. You can't just cut the ball back in half line. It's so stupid. But anyway, it's, again, offensive holding and doing stupid things. All right, so let's watch a pin and pull here. So this on the left, you can see the 6 technique, the 3 technique. All right, good throw technique by both those guys. The drop actually whips the tight end's butt, and he grabs him and torques him and holds him, tackles him. All right, and then the 3 technique does a nice job of throating back through the guy. That's literally a throat. He puts his hand right in the guy's throat. And then here's a pin and pull with Myron in the playoff game, 95. Run through it, took out the pulling guard, backside guard. 9 does a nice job with the throat. Just keep driving it back, trust it. All right, and then the linebacker needs to come over the top and make the play. Or safety, fill, whatever's in your scheme. So that's the pin and pull. We'll go to the next. Anybody have any questions on how we're coaching that? All right, power scoops and double teams. We've spent a ton of time on this. We have some really young D tackles this spring, and so we've really detailed this thing out. And so, what you're trying to do is, in a power scoop, is you're trying to keep your guys as square as you possibly can. The moment you get turned on a power scoop, that's when you're going to get in trouble. So that's basically what this is saying. It's telling, like I go through this with my guys. We've gone through it a couple times this spring. The guard is trying to get vertical. So if I could just explain, Chief, why don't you come up here and can I borrow somebody? Coach, can you come on up? You guys love when we do this, right? Grab you from the crowd. So let's say that you and I are working the 3 technique here. So ball is in here, okay? This is the 3 technique. All right, this is the guard. I'm the guard, he's the tackle. And we're trying to go from him up to a linebacker. All right, we're trying to power scoop him. Not a scoop where I'm just avoiding him, jumping through and going up to the backer. Not what we're talking about. I'm going to whip his butt. I'm going to drive vertical through him to the backer, and this guy is going to be on my hip, get as tight to me as he can, and cover him up. All right, so it's this. It's set, I step, and I get vertical through this guy up to this backer. You can see we already got him beat. He's turned, he's soft, we're crushing him, right? So how do you defend that block? Well, the first thing is this man has to come off the ball through what? My V of the neck. He has to dent me back. All right, and so he's firing his hands on me, striking me, and bam, I'm shocked. Like, whoa, okay. Now I, as an offensive guard, am unable to get vertical on my second step. So go back, Chief. All I want to do as a guard is brace step and go there. If I get that in the ground, he's done. If I stop him from doing that, I win. You guys feel me on that? So that's how you defeat the power scoop. It's here, shocked. Great. Now he flattens me out. He stays square. It doesn't matter. He can keep covering him up. I'm not able to get up, and the linebacker's either going to be clean, and I'm not getting turned, and I'm not getting knocked off the ball. Okay? We all good on the power scoop. Okay, now, double team. And it's imperative that this is how you're teaching then how you're going to replicate it. Like your defensive linemen need to know how you want it coached so they can give the example to the defensive tackle or the defensive end, whoever you're working with. So now, on a double team, I, the guard, am taking the same footwork. I'm trying to get vertical, and I may be trying, in some schemes, to torque this guy inside. This player is not trying to cover him up and scoop him. He's trying to knock him in front of me, climbing up to the backer. He's going to the backer now. Okay, so as we do this, it's here, and I'm torquing. You bang his hip, coach, bang it. Now it's here, and he's overtaken. All right, that's how we're trying to show the double team. So now what we're telling on the double team, because it feels the same as a power scoop. So now we're going to anchor, throw this guy's power off of me, reduce down, and then expand through the gap. So show them how it's done here. It's here, reduce, and then expand through. All right, so you'll see that's what we're working on. Thanks. You're good. Thanks, Coach. So those are the two different types of combination blocks that you're going to see as a defensive tackle. The defensive tackle, if you play 4-down defense, whether he's a shade or a 3 technique or a 2-eye, this is their world, okay? So that's what that basically says. So here is the power scoop in a nutshell. You can see the diagram on the left. You can see pictures of it on the right. So you can see 41. You can see the tackle on the right from USC trying to cover that big guy up. All right, you can see the guard trying to climb up to the backer. All right, so here we are drilling it. Shock him. Was 54 the guard? Was he able to get his second step in the ground vertical? No. No, he was not. Shocked him with our hands, kept drive, stayed square. I don't like the finish on this drill here. But if the guard then tries to just punch through and get vertical, you got to get off of it and flatten down the line. All right, not what I really want in this drill, but not bad. Not bad for two defensive linemen given this look. So now this is really nice by Myron of shocking the guy. Was he able to get his second step in the ground? No, it's hanging back there, dragging. This is actually an offensive lineman giving us a look too, so this is good. All right, now the backside cover-up guy does a poor job. Here's guys just doing it with doubles. Let's go to the footage, the practice film, the game film of doing it, and then we can talk about this. And you guys, and here's the half line stuff. So we're doing it with half line. So watch the guard here. The guard's trying to get the guard is trying to get to 31. All right. So the guard's trying to climb to 31. The tackle's trying to cover up 95, and now he dents the guard back. Look at the guard's head jack back. He can't get his second step vertical, and so now therefore I'm able to stay square. All right, and then I can anchor and throw that guy's power off me. The one thing that needs to happen on the power scoop happens on a zone play. Okay? So linebackers need to run their gaps. If your linebackers are sitting there pounding their feet at linebacker depth, guess who's going to get their brains beat in? The D tackles. The linebackers have to step up so that the guard has to then come off the double team. Then you work another separate drill for those guys. We call that the hat and the crack. Every time you got some form of double team combo block, as the guard comes off, this guy inside has to then go where the crease is, so he accelerates through it to make the play. There's a couple of those examples here I'll show you. So right there, that's hat in the crack. Guard comes off on 31, 95, gets vertical through that gap. Really good job by 41 here. So here is a power scoop up to 22. All right, watch what he does to the guard. Smokes the guard back, and then did the center come off? Watch the center come off on 22. So what's 41 got to do? He's got to go hat in the crack back towards the center. All right, and right there, he makes the play right there. It's a really good play by him. You guys all following what I'm saying? D-line guys that trying to get something out of this? Okay, really good by 41. Gets a little turn, but watch him come off the ball and shock the center. All right, he anchors because he knocks him back so far. Then he goes hat in the crack right there and anchors and kills it. Really good play by 41. Here's some stuff versus in a team period. Here's the freshman, 54, hat in the crack right there. It separates up to 45. Now go hat in the crack. Let's go to some game clips. Not a great angle of it, but watch Tillery here on the right. All right, 71's trying to get vertical up to 4. Tillery just flattens him out, and then all of a sudden the tackle comes off, and there's Tillery feeling it, and he goes back hat in the crack to the B gap. Okay? The nose guard, look at what happens to this poor guy. Okay, let's say you're the nose guard. You're 41. 70 and 64 are blocking him. What never happens here? Yeah, they never come off on the linebacker. No one's blocking the linebacker. So there's mashing the 2-eye, which is fine because he's whipping their butts. All right, and so 4. Watch what 4 does. He's right behind the goalpost there. He's got that A-gap. If he steps up right now, what's the guard got to do? Got to come off. He pets his feet. The guard stays on Jerry longer. All right? Indecisive by the backer. If he's just stepped up, they separate. And you can really help your defensive tackles out by playing fast and getting downhill with the backers. And that helps, especially if you're undersized at D tackle and they're getting pushed around and they're getting knocked back. Get downhill, get those guys off the combos, or otherwise, if they don't come off, what is your linebacker going to do? He's going to run through and make a play. All right, you're going to run through and make the play. All right. How am I doing on time, guys? So watch 63 and 75 try to combo block Jerry. This is the first play of the game. We're out there trying to set the tempo. We're going to dent this O-line. We're going to punch him in the face first play of the game. They come out, try to double team Jerry. He says, no. I'm going to take your guard. I'm going to flatten you out on the combo. I'm going to knock you back. You go hat in the crack. You climb too quick. All right, make the play. Power scoop. We all see it. Tough to defend. Here's the very next play. They say, we're going to do it again, Jerry. We'll knock you off the ball. He flattens the guard out, keeps it from getting vertical on his second step. Backer gets downhill, comes off on it. Jerry goes hat in the crack. And obviously, Jerry's expected to make the play when the ball goes into B gap. Ball hits in the front side B gap. Come on, 4 step up. Pull that guy off for the nose guard. Nose guard's whipping 71's butt. Goes hat in the crack. Really good play. Come on. All right. We good on the power scoop? On how I'm coaching them to defend it? How many? 5 minutes. Okay, so what do I have left, Chief? Let's take a poll here and see what they want to hear from more of. The double team. We'll move on past the double team. That's very similar to what we're talking about here. Let me just show you one of the double teams, and we'll go. Here's pictures of the double team. Here's showing that they're trying to knock the guy across the guard's face now. Here's us drilling it, and then here is some looks at it. And we'll just watch one of these. Let's see. Watch 57. So not really coming off the ball great. Does a nice job of anchoring. Remember what we're doing in the double team. Because they're trying to knock me across the guard's face, I'm going to anchor, take this guard's power, reduce it off of me, all right? Reduce it, and then expand through the gap. This is a good look at a reduce and expand by 57. Reduce it, throw the guard off, and then expand back up. Nice job by him. And he's a scrappy dude, man. He's 75 pounds, 280 some pounds, in there fighting, scrapping, instinctive player. I believe this is 95. Okay, look at him anchor. He anchors, And then the linebacker 33 comes in, the guard shows up, now he's got to reduce and expand back to the B gap. It's a tough down. Double teams are tough downs. A lot of times it's pad level, it's technique. At the end of the day, it's about grit. It's about, I'm going to knock your ass back, you're not going to knock me back. All right? All right, next. Kick out blocks. So we have kick out block. What do we have left, Chief? Okay, kick out blocks. Let's go through this real quick. Kick out blocks. So what we teach our defensive ends, and this reads really good. This is probably one of the better slides up there, so let's read this. All right, the defensive end's number one job is to control the C gap. That's your world. If you're out of the C gap, above the C gap, we're dead. Defense is got a disease, okay? You got to get your ass in the C gap. All right, when it comes to tight end, fullback, backside guards kicking you out, you'll use two techniques. It's a cheek technique or it's a wrong arm, okay? Cheek technique is our primary technique. The wrong arm is an emergency technique. I can't stand the wrong arm technique. Try not to coach it. Sometimes you need it. I'll show you the examples of when we needed it. All right, the primary technique of a cheek block is this. Guy's coming to kick me out. My C gap is going down off the tackle. I'm moving down. I'm shuffling down. Guy coming at me. I stay square. I explode through the puller, and I throw my cheek into the fit. I'm in the C gap. My cheek, my butt cheek. I cheek it. I tear off, and I make the tackle, or the ball goes outside. You guys got it? If I have a poor read, let's say I got a tight end and the tackle. Tight end, let's say I lose my eyes. I'm supposed to be looking at the tackle. Tackle blocks down, I'm here. I'm good, I cheek everything. If I look at the tight end, he goes out, tackle blocks down, oh no, look at that, it's space grow. You better run down there and wrong arm that thing. You better take the C gap however you can. So you're running down and you're wrong arming, and then it's going to be a nice flat cut. It's not going to be great, but at least it doesn't hit in the C gap. There's someone put their hand up.
Your linebackers have the D gap thing on the outside?
Oh, it depends on the defense. But somebody, yeah. We are a spill defense. We're a flow defense. People are going to go outside, nice and tight, scraping. We're spilling to somebody, whether it's typically a linebacker, yep, or safety, or somebody like that, yep. All right, so the reason for the cheek technique is it allows you to stay square and powerful, all right? Allows you to penetrate on the puller, all right, so you're not giving up one for one. Allows you to stay engaged into play. You're not wasting yourself. Allows you to redirect on the tight end bypass, which we get a ton of. So if I turn to go wrong arm a tight end that's coming back on a yo play, he's coming back Y across. I go to wrong arm him. He avoids me and runs outside. Quarterback runs a naked. I got to redirect, come back like this. Anytime I stay square, I'm getting ready to cheek him. He avoids me. Foot in the ground, redirect, go. All right, you get your mirror hand up. 9 times out of 10, we're in good leverage on the quarterback. Not a problem. And then number 4, by staying square on any type of kick out block, it forces the ball to jump cut wider, all right, because I'm square, and then it forces the linebacker, or the linebacker's got a good angle to tackle the ball. So here's us working a cheek block, all right, tackle down, tight end kicking me out, cheek, here it is again. You can just see a bunch of them here. Now I got the tight end in a plug position inside the tackle, cheek it, up top looks a little better. Here's a good cheek block. Here's a reason for staying square. Watch the guy up top in a three-point stance, the DN. Tight end tries to kick him out from a yo, all right, from a Y off. He knocks him back, staying square and powerful, puts him into the guard, tears off and makes the play. That's a 245-pound defensive end going in there wreaking havoc, taking out 2 guys, the tight end and the puller, and then actually making the play. Cheek technique, staying square. Let's go to a couple more here. Here's 44 again. Cheek. He stays square. The ball bounces outside. He fit inside. He can tear off now and be a player, not wasting himself 1 for 1. All right, and staying involved in the play. Let's watch. Let's see who this was. Huh? Oh, they said something. All right, watch 53. 53 has a plugged fullback, a yo on the left. He goes in, squeezes down, throws the cheek in there, takes out the backside pulling guard, stays square, goes 2 for 1, lets the linebackers and the safeties, the nickel here, the rover clean it up. All right, really good cheek technique, took 2 for 1. This was, let's see, this is 53 doing a nice job here, denting the guy back, putting the tight end's butt now in the C gap. Here's another one. Watch 44. That's a good cheek technique. Let me get some pulls for you. No. So now here, Clemson pulled the center on their counter play. So we're working pulling centers, backside guards. It's all the same. This is a good look at the cheek technique, staying square, tearing off inside, putting your cheek in there. That's a good look at it. All right, let's watch a couple of them then. Watch 9 on the cheek. He's up top. All right, he goes sag, strike, cheek, ball bounces. Here he is again, number 9. Cheek it, powerful, really good cheek. That's a 300-some pound guy hitting him. Good pad level leverage, cheeking up through it, good power. Here's 42. Good power, cheek, stay square. I want to show you the wrong arm that he had and the reason for it. This is why not the wrong arm, number 9. There's no reason to wrong arm this thing. He's not in an emergency situation. He's sagging down. He's in good position. The guy comes back pretty quick on him, and he wrong arms it. He rips across the guy's face. The guard then turns on him, flattens him, pushes him down the line, and this great big seam opens up between the linebacker and the other backer. Like you'd really want him to stay square, physical, force the running back to jump cut outside wider so that so there's flow to the ball. All right, and then here was another, I put that play on there because that's how not to do it. Watch how 9 does it here. This is the same exact play. He strikes it, cheeks it, forces the ball to go outside, punches across the guy's face, and makes a heck of a play. See it? Now listen, you guys may say, Coach, I don't have guys that can do that, and maybe you don't. I mean, he's a 260-something pound guy, but you're watching 235-pound guys do it, hitting guards, because with leverage and pad level and punch. All right, at the end of the day, maybe you have to wrong arm it. It's all good, all right? It's all good. I think it's a decent technique, but we try to keep that as an emergency. And so here is the one that was an emergency. So Pittsburgh has a fullback all the way out there. They kept motioning this guy in, and they kept cracking the defensive end. Or they lined him up, the tight end there on 87, and blocking down on the drop. All right, the guy that's in a 2-point. So he lost his eyes for a second. Watch the drop. He's going to go throat 87, and really the tackle blocked down. He should be looking at the tackle. So watch 70 block down. 42 stepped out. He saw that, and then he immediately said, oh, shoot, I have an emergency. You see that big opening in that C-gap? Now he goes down under and he wrong arms it. But what he did a nice job of was he wrong armed it, but he pried it back vertical to force this thing to jump cut a little bit wider. All right, not that it was perfect, not that that's what you want to do. All right, there's obviously elements of the game that happen as it goes, and you got to understand where the player's perspective is. They kept blocking down, blocking down, blocking down. They don't block down. They run the counter now, and now you got to have a plan. Go make the wrong arm and fit it right. And then the final one, yo divides here. We're good on. This is why you stay square. All right, this is why you cheek it, the bypass. Now you got the reaction back out, got your quarterback contained. Another yo bypass. All right, if the quarterback had the ball, he's in good position. And then the final drill that I had on here was a throwing arm. Everything that we do with our pass, everything that when you watch, I just watched a cut up with a recruit, and I showed him 48 snaps of our defensive lineman getting on the throwing arm. Everything that we do is about getting on the throwing arm of the quarterback. So many times you're watching a film of another team or a player, and he's wrapping up the quarterback around the waist. And then the quarterback does what with the ball? Just flicks it out to a running back or flicks it out to a wide receiver or a tight end. We are always coming around and trying to get on the throwing arm of the quarterback. So what we have to practice that. So here we are. So here's a quarterback as the pop-up with an arm, with the football. So if I work the edge and I come around, the quarterback's throwing the ball, I can't wind up and do what they call a tomahawk strip. I have to punch it out. I don't have a lot of time, so I have to punch it out. So as you punch this thing out, all right, you can see you're securing the tackle with your inside arm, and you can see Khalid just punch that ball. All right? And then the other way, and you can see us drilling this, and we're running a hoop, and sometimes I put someone in the middle there to hit them so that they're hitting a breakdown of some kind. The other thing, and so here's a couple clips of it. So watch Tillery. He hits a speed swipe on the guard, whips him, comes around, ball is exposed. Punch. Punch the ball out. Punch the ball out. We didn't get it, but he punched the ball out. Here's another one. This was Tillery on the throwing arm. Watch him. Low shoulder. So he's working a level rush. Level rush, long arm, comes underneath. Quarterback, how many times have you seen a guy just try to wrap up the quarterback? He's trying to break down on the ball, and he's trying to hold the quarterback's arm to prevent him from throwing the ball to number 20, who's getting out of the backfield, right? That is a critical coaching point that we try to spend our entire pass concepts on. And obviously, we're trying to break down protection. Watch 53. Hits a speed, long arm stab, level rush to the quarterback, and then reaches to punch for the ball. Ends up hitting the elbow. Ball goes fluttering out there, interception, Notre Dame. Actually, we dropped it, but with a recruit, I hit end, and I say interception, Notre Dame. And then so here's 42. Watch him swipe. He hits a speed swipe on the tackle, reaches around, he's falling down, trying to punch for the ball, hits the elbow, ball goes into the turf. As critical as a sack. Absolutely as critical as a sack. All right, and then the other way that we talk about it is now we take the arm off. So now the quarterback is standing there, and this is my last one, I promise. You up next, Lance? Am I good? 2 more minutes. So the quarterback is here. He's got the ball in. He hasn't put it back to punch it. Now I can take and I can tomahawk, I can come around and I can violently club the ball down. And if I don't get it out, I lawnmower his fingers off the ball. So that's what you're seeing the guys do. They violently club it down and try to lawnmower his hand off the ball. We're trying to cut his fingers out of there. That's why we call it the lawnmower. So watch 42. Juice. All right, he's an exceptional pass rusher. All right, so he's in this position a ton. That's a really good look at it. OV 29, just a young guy coming on, doing a nice job. Okay, I'd like to see more of the down on this. All right, he's just kind of hitting it, going like that. I want it down through the pad and then back up. Anyway, this is us drilling it. I'll move on real quick. Here's a couple examples of it working. So watch Tillery hit a speed swipe, or no, this is a U game. Watch him work through 72 U game. Ball's in there, so he comes around and goes down on it. All right, knocks the ball out. Rakes down on the arm. Didn't have to lawnmower the fingers off of it. Here's a look at 53. Watch him come around. I think he hits a long arm. Nope, yeah, long stab, club, and then he's getting on the throwing arm. He's coming around trying to tomahawk it down. He didn't get the guy's hand off the ball, all right, but you could see him tackling with the tomahawk strip. Critical component. A lot of guys would tackle around the waist, do something where the quarterback can dip the ball out to a back or a tight end, and then watch Julian Okora. Watch him run the quarterback down here. All right, he runs him down, and he's trying to rake, tomahawk strip that ball. All right? So right here, a lot of guys would lay out, dive for the legs, knees, ankles, and the quarterback's going down, he just flutters the ball out. No, we're getting on the throwing arm. All right? So anyway, that's one of the pass drills. I believe I have a chalk talk. Anybody wants to go into further discussion about that stuff? Appreciate it. You guys, great visit. See you guys tomorrow at practice.